everybody, welcome to BASSTalk with Freekbass. Hello, how are you doing? Hope you're having an amazing week. And I'm on, it looks like the roof cam this week, doesn't it? But I wanted to give a really good angle of what I was doing here on the bass, and it seemed to be like a really good kind of head-on angle to see what I was doing. So what we're going to do tonight, first off, thanks for being here. I'm here every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, live at the Facebook page, facebook.com/Freekbass, over at the YouTube page, youtube.com, the Freekbass channel, and over at the mighty Twitter, twitter.com/Freekbass. So if you're at Twitter and you're digging it, hit your retweet button. That would be awesome. If you're over at YouTube, subscribe, please, and hit the thumbs up. And over at Facebook, please hit your share button. And thank you to all the people at Facebook that have been sending me stars. You see that showing up in your feed now, this new thing Facebook started. And it really helps, keep the lights on. It helps us to keep providing new and fresh content all the time. So really appreciate that. And so what we're going to do today, one of the things I do besides playing bass is I also produce. I produce music, and one of the artists that I've been really excited to work with and who's crazy talented, who tours with me quite a bit, is Sammi Garett. And a lot of you know Sammi. If you follow me on any of my socials, you know all about Sammi. And you also probably know that she just released a single about a week or so ago called With You. And I thought it would be kind of a cool thing to show you the approach I took with the bass line for With You, because I did some stuff I don't do a whole lot when I play, and but the song called for it, in my opinion. So so you heard me playing the groove as we came in, and so basically what we're going to do is we're going to do a breakdown of the bass line of for With You. I'm going to explain what I did and the choices that I made. And, some of these choices might be, when you're in the studio or live, these might be some of the choices you might come across yourself. And so you can kind of see my thought process that I went through everything. First thing is, when I heard we were working in the studio together. She had this initial kind of groove and idea for the song. And it just had this very almost hypnotic quality to me. The song did, and that's what we ultimately chose it to be her first single. I'm producing two or three more songs for her upcoming EP. We'll talk about that at a later date. But and by the way, the song is linked here in the description of tonight's show. So make sure you click it, stream it, download it, whatever you do with music. And check it out. It's an amazing song, and she's an incredibly talented songwriter. Like I said, the song had kind of a hypnotic kind of quality to it. So, the first thing I do is when I'm producing is I think what the rhythm section is going to do. And when I say rhythm section, I don't just mean me on bass. What the drums are going to do, what the guitar is going to do. I play guitar on this as well, and I was trying to create almost a hypnotic groove with the guitar. And tone-wise, the song is different than this, but there's a song by a really cool band called Big Data. They do a song called Dangerous, and they have this really cool bass tone in the song. And of course, I didn't want to make it sound like that song. And if you heard the two songs back and back, you'd be like, they don't sound anything like each other. But I wanted to kind of have that kind of almost the song was had kind of a I don't want to use the word, just more of a mellowish kind of sound, and I wanted it to be a little more aggressive. I wanted the bass to be a little more aggressive, and of course funky. And so that's when I thought, well, if I wanted that kind of aggressive, growly sound, again, I had that Big Data, that bass sound they had on their song. It's a great song too, called Dangerous, by the way. Check that out. And so to me, I don't know what they actually used on that song in terms of what bass they used, but it sounded like a Rickenbacker to me. A Rickenbacker, this is my Rickenbacker 4003 bass. So that was choice number one. I chose that to be the bass that I played on that song. I wanted almost kind of almost a low, mid kind of growly sound. And then I was like, well, if you're going to use a Rickenbacker on it, you might as well go all the way. And originally I was going to play with my fingers, or I was going to do a thump or slap line, but then I was like, you know what, let's just play with a pick. And that's kind of, so many of the classic tones you hear on Rickenbacker, whether it be Paul McCartney or Chris Squire from Yes, come from playing a pick on a Rickenbacker. It really kind of has that kind of aggressive sound. So that's what I did. And once I kind of got the drums dialed in, I was almost kind of thinking then almost more on the James Brown side of things, or almost like Mother Popcorn kind of vibe, where the bass is kind of almost accentuating what the drums are doing, because the drums have kind of a syncopated feel on this song, as you hear. So that's when once I heard the drums, that's when I kind of had that idea for that. So you're hearing I'm doing a lot of up and down picking. And on a educational, instructional point of view, if you're playing with a pick, there's two ways to, with the pick, quickly, I have other videos about playing with a pick on bass, but just quickly on this, one thing I always think, you want to get the pick as close, choked up as much as you can next to your fingers so it follows your finger movement. And then you have the choice as a player. I know a lot of bass players and guitar players that kind of keep their hand closed, play it this way, and some, like myself, I keep my fingers open and I almost use those as kind of a guide. I have my pinky down here and I have it actually resting against the bass, and I use that as a guide to keep me real dialed in and close to the bass. But just like when we're doing double thumb stuff, you want your picking up and down to be nice and even as possible. So you're not hearing, you can't really tell if you're a listener whether I'm doing a downstroke or an upstroke, okay? So just on an instructional thing, that would be if you're like, hey, I want to use a pick playing bass, or at least try it out. Just start on one note and just do 8 note, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, like that. Okay, so once you kind of get that dialed in, then again, I had that I was trying to almost mimic and support what the drums are doing. You know my mantra here, I'm a drummer that plays notes. So, the drums had that, again, that almost kind of syncopated feel. So I had that bass line to fit within that. I was hearing da 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 ba 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 ba. I was hearing that. That was that rhythm. 4 1. I had that rhythm in my head. So then I started like, well, what if I just did that rhythm on the notes of the song? So then on the A, so that it goes from A to E, by the way, then F to C. And then I would add in the octave. Now, when I do the octave, the first time I'm doing 2 downstrokes. C, 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 like. But then every 4, I do kind of an upstroke thing on the octave. It's that little rhythm. So I'm kind of putting a ghost note in there on the down and then coming up on that note. Then I come back down to the low C. So let me play the whole line. I'm going to slow it way down so you can really hear exactly what I'm doing. So it's like this. And then you just add that into the groove. Let's check it out one more time here, the beginning of the groove, okay? Good. That was the upstroke one. and that's the basic groove. One last thing I want to say to you as well, a lot of times you'll see and I've mentioned this in other videos, you'll see my thumb over the neck. And it's not a technique thing. It's not like, oh my gosh, like Freekbass, that's not great technique. You're right. If you do this all the time, that is not good technique. You want to be like this with your thumb behind the neck. Generally, that's the idea. But when I'm playing like aggressive, especially heavier lines like this, because I'm coming down pretty hard on the strings, well, what I'm doing with my thumb over here, I'm resting this against the E string, so there's no ring of that, because I'm vibrating the whole bass, and so there's no vibration of this E string at all, and you're just getting that nice clean note of this. That's what that thumb is. And likewise, on the other side, I'm kind of using my pinky to block the G string. So the only strings that are able to ring are the D and A strings, which are the strings within this song right here. So that is the breakdown of Sammy's new single, With You. Make sure you check out the single, listen to the whole thing. We're all super proud of it. We're going to be performing that song live. We're going on the road, at the end of March 25th, starting in Cincinnati, Ohio. Playing Cincinnati 25th, Louisville, Kentucky the 26th, the 27th. We are in Columbus of March. Then in March 30th, Wednesday, March 30th, Brooklyn Bowl in Brooklyn, New York. March 31st, we are in Wilmington, Delaware at the Queen. Friday, we are in Virginia, and Saturday, we are in April 2nd. Roanoke, Virginia. And then Sunday, we end in Charleston, South Carolina at the Poorhouse. So I hope to see a lot of you in person, these shows. We can talk bass all night then, which would be awesome. So thanks for joining me. I'll be here every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Bass Talk. Join me, of course, this Saturday night for Saturday Night Chit Chat. We got Nicholas Gerlach, saxophonist, on with me this week. And of course, every Thursday night and Saturday night, Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Saturdays 10 p.m. Eastern Time, where I'm creating all these grooves live on twitch.tv/Freekbass. Everybody have an amazing week. Love y'all.